Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bryndís and I like to read and talk about what I've read on this channel. Happy New Year! I hope your New Year celebrations went well and that 2026 is starting off on the right foot, as we say. I wanted a little bit different setup because I really wanted you to see my Christmas tree before I take it down, because I haven't been really at home for the majority of Christmas tree time. So it's beautiful. A little bit bare here with the lights because they are like tangled there, and I got annoyed and I couldn't untangle them. But it's so nice. It's so nice. I've finished 2 books this week. I'm trying to think. Yes. So last week I did tell you that I started to read this one, Tál, by Arnaldur Indriðason, which is an Icelandic crime author, and it's a crime detective drama. But I realized that I wouldn't finish it before I had to leave, and I was reading my dad's copy, so I just stopped reading it. I was barely started it anyway, so I will just, if I feel like I want to read it before I go back to visit my parents, I can always access it either as a physical copy at the library or just as an audiobook. I'm sure it will be, or maybe it already is available as an audiobook. But what I did finish was, first of all, I finished The Crow Trap by Cleves. This is the first book in the Vera Stanhope series. I never remember her name. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's I was annoyed at the ending because I guessed who done it. And I'm the type of reader, I want that to be a surprise. I don't want to be able to figure out. I don't actively try to figure out who did it. I might be like, oh, was it him? But I'm not like trying to solve the clues. So I was kind of annoyed when I was like, well, it's obviously this person who did it. So that was annoying. But it didn't ruin the book for me or anything. I really enjoyed the book. I think that Vera is a very interesting character. And I definitely will be reading more of the series. I think it's quite a long series. I don't remember if I've seen how many books are in the series, but definitely want to read more of those, and eventually also would like to watch the TV series. And I think, yeah, so it was good. I gave it 4 stars. And yeah, it's a very good, if you just want a detective series that's not too bloody and that has like the normal kind of tropes of a detective who has a troubled personal life and, some possible suspicious people who all of them could have done it, but you don't know who did it. And unless obviously I did realize who did it, but that was very close to the end. So like I said, it didn't ruin the book for me or anything. But yeah, it was good. It's so it's the first time you meet Vera as a character, and obviously the first book, and I think she does it really well. And I did talk about the book a little bit more in my last video, so I'm not gonna repeat that. But yeah, it was fun, and it's also just fun. It takes place in the north of England. Anne Cleves has also written a series that takes place in the Shetland Islands, which I think I've seen maybe one of those TV shows, but I definitely would like to read. And I'm thinking that I may have read the first book in that series, but that's definitely also a series I would love to reread or read again or read for the first time. Yeah, so Vera. The first book I finished in 2020. No, actually, I finished it on New Year's Eve day. So I finished it actually in 2025. It was a last book that I finished in 2025. book number 101. Yeah. Yes. So the other book that I finished, and I started it on New Year's Day, and then I was driving for like 6 hours from my hometown back here to Reykjavik, to where I live, and listened to it. I did listen to it at like 1.25 speed. I felt like the narration was good, but it wasn't. Sometimes for me, because I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and sometimes most of the time I listen to it at just normal speed, like 1.0, because I feel often if you listen to it at a faster speed, you kind of lose the performance. So if it is a really good audiobook with like a prop, what I like in an audiobook, because I know that people like different styles. My favorite style is when the narrator performs the book. It doesn't just read the book, but it's like a performance. It's almost like a play. That type of narration just sucks me in. And this book that I listened to was just a normal narration, just reading the book. I mean, he did a little bit of voices and all of those type of things, a little bit of dramatization, but it wasn't like full-on performance. So I decided to listen to it at a little bit higher speed. It felt too slow on a normal speed, basically. And that book is Christine by Stephen King. Excuse me. Excuse me. Christine by Stephen King. I actually had read about 1/4 of it in 2023 when I kind of started my little Stephen King project. So my goal my Stephen King project is to read all of his work not in publication order, but in like decade order. And he published his first book in 1974. So I'm doing it like 1974 until 1983, 1984 until 1993, and so on. And I'm still in the first decade. I have so many, he wrote a lot. I have so many books that I still have to read. But I think I've read Carrie, The Shining, Salem's Lot, The Dead Zone, The Long Walk, The Firestarter. I think I've only read these 6. So this was book number 7 that I've read by him. I will put if I've counted wrong, I will put, if I've forgotten something, I will put it on the screen here. So I was thinking that I would need to start again because I wouldn't remember anything, but I decided to try and start at the same time because it was an audiobook. The audiobook app had kept, so when I pressed play, it started at the place where I had left off, 2.5 years ago. And I didn't feel the need to go back because I remembered what had happened. And I wasn't it was still kind of setting up the story. So Christine, and I did buy this copy last year. So this counts as my in my Read What You Own challenge. I do not have a physical copy of the Ann Cleves book, so that one does not count. So this counts for my Read What You Own challenge and my Stephen King challenge, basically. So Christine, I'm sure most of you will know what this book is about. This is obviously a classic horror book, a classic Stephen King book, at least. It was published in 1978, I think. 83. Oh, it was published in 1983. But it takes place in 1978 to 1979 in that winter. So it's a story of Arnie and Dennis. They are high school friends who are very different people. Dennis is kind of the footballer, popular boy, cute, and all of those things. Arnie is pimple-faced, kind of outsider, nerdy person. But they are best friends and have been best friends since they were very small. And in the summer before their senior year of high school, so this is obviously American, takes place in Pennsylvania, they are working at the same job, like a construction, I think it was a construction site or something like that. And Arnie wants to buy a car and he meets Christine. Christine is a car, Plymouth, a 1958 Plymouth something, autumn red. I think you can, like that is probably how it looks. If I can find a picture of a Plymouth, I don't know what they would look like, but they look like this. And it is a very interesting car because it's like has murderous instincts, and things start to happen as Arnie is not renovating, what's the word? Restoring the car in a way that nobody understands how he's able to do. And he starts to change, and people really start to notice that there is something wrong with the car. Dennis and Arnie kind of more or less fall out about the car, and there's a girl involved, and there are brutal murders, vehicle murders. So this book, I remember watching the movie when I was a kid. You know, I have older siblings and they probably rented the movie from like the VHS Blockbuster type store here in Iceland, and we were watching the movie, and it definitely has like cultural references, probably internationally, in that I don't know if you watched Supernatural, the TV series, but definitely I was always thinking about Dean Winchester and his baby when I was like Arnie was talking about Christine. And there is an episode in Supernatural where there is a haunted car, which is definitely inspired by Christine. And so this is probably very classic Stephen King. Like I said, I've only read like 6 or 7 books by him, so I don't really know. But it's a horror, and there are some brutal murders in here. It's very bloody. There is foul language. It's all of the things that Stephen King does, or did at least. And it's spooky and creepy and suspenseful, but it's also just ridiculous. Like I'm very kind of skeptical about supernatural things. Like I'm an atheist. I don't believe in like spirits, and I just don't. So I'm very much matter of fact person. But I can like suspend belief for really good ghost stories, like The Shining, for example, by Stephen King. Carrie, I could definitely believe that they had these paranormal. Firestarter, I love this book. But I have to say that A Murderous Car may have been a step too far for me. It was like I was laughing sometimes in scenes that I don't think you were really supposed to laugh because it was just so ridiculous. But it didn't ruin the book. And I would recommend, I think this is probably a very good 80s type of a horror book, and I would actually be very curious to watch the movie again. But it's stupid. It's stupid. I know there is this movie out that I like been out for decades probably about like these murderous, mass murdering sheep, like sheep that do mass murder, or serial killer sheep, and it's just it's beyond stupid. Like it's for me, it's one step too far for me to suspend my disbelief and go with it. So I'm giving this 3 stars because of that, which is probably not fair because obviously I knew going in that this was a car that did some murder, but I'm giving it 3 stars because there were a lot of things in here that I really enjoyed, and there were like scenes of like how Arnie was. There were things happening to Arnie that were really creepy and horrifying, and so this is but this was not a scary book for me at all. Like there was nothing scary about it. It was suspenseful at times, but not scary. But I'm happy that I finally finished it, and I'm also happy that I think I want to definitely want to keep this copy. But I need to be more careful though, because I don't want to buy, like if I can get an audiobook, I will try to read Stephen King through the audiobooks before I actually buy the copies, because obviously there are going to be books of his that I'm not going to like, and I don't want to have physical copies of books that I don't like. But I don't not like this book, but I didn't love it. So it's 3 stars is still a pretty good ranking, I think. But yeah. Christine. So that actually I think that means that I've read 5 or 6 books of my Read What You Own challenge, which is fantastic already, like just over 2 months in, so that's fantastic. But what I'm currently reading, well, at the moment, because I just finished this one last night and I haven't started a new book, I'm not currently, I have decided what audiobook is going to be my next audiobook, and that is Charles Dickens. And the next book in order, I'm reading Charles Dickens in publication order. And the next book in line is Barnaby Rudge. I do not have a physical copy of this book. Hopefully I will, I would like to have a copy, because I think I want to actually, different from Stephen King, I actually think I want to own all of Charles Dickens. I feel like that those books are different. Obviously it's Charles Dickens, and even though Stephen King is very famous, he's no Charles Dickens. So, but Barnaby Rudge, I don't really know a lot about this book. I just read the blurb and like very shortly, and it's about this Barnaby Rudge who seems to be, I mean the description on the blurb is offensive, but he seems to be intellectually challenged individual who is wrongly accused of something. So that's gonna be fun. It's like 28 hours, so it's quite long. But it's the book that the audiobook that I'm going to listen to is narrated by Simon Vance, who is one of my favorite classics narrator. And yeah, he narrated the Trollope book that I read in December, and also narrated, what was the last book that I read by Charles Dickens? Was it Old Curiosity Shop? I think he actually also narrated the Pickwick Papers. I can't remember. But yeah, so I'm excited to start with that book today, or this evening probably. And then I'm determined now to get this book read. Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. It's ridiculous. It's been on my coffee table for 2 months already. And I'm just gonna read it and get it done with, because I know that if I just start to read it, I'm sure I will enjoy it. But I want to read it anyway, whether I enjoy it or not. I'm gonna read this book. And I'm kind of unofficially wanting to read all of Elizabeth Gaskell, and so yeah, I want to read her. She's one of my all-time favorite authors, in the top 3 definitely of my classical favorite classical authors, and I want to read this book. So that's going to be my mission for the week, is to basically try to finish. I am still only like 1/3. I did not touch it in December. I'm about 1/3 of the book of the way in, and I'm just gonna count how many chapters are left, divide the chapters so that next time, like divide the chapters into each day, so the next time I talk to you, I will be done with this book. That's the goal. The coming week is, I'm starting back to work, so it's not like my holiday is ending, my winter break is ending, but it's a soft start to the semester. The semester itself doesn't start until a week from tomorrow. So the craziness is not starting this week, so I will have energy, and I want to finish this book. And then, of course, I'm also still reading A Day of Fallen Night, and I think that as soon as, maybe I will read a chapter here and there this week, we'll see, but I may just also wait with it. I did not read anything in December either. Finish Mary Barton and then dive into this and get this book read, because it's starting off really well. I'm barely started. It's starting off so interestingly, and I want to read it. So those are the books: Charles Dickens, Mary Barton, Elizabeth Gaskell, and Samantha Shannon, going to be keeping me company for the coming week. I think that's that. Have you read any of these books? Or what are you reading? Let me know in the comments. Have you read Christine? Or have you seen the movie? Are you old like me and you saw the movie on VHS tape back in the day? I don't know when the movie came out. I will have to look that up. But I just remember the headlights. And I remember as a kid or as a teenager, like we would be like, oh my God, this is Christine. Like, if we saw an old car, basically. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one.